Brothers and sisters, as the blood-bought people of God, I exhort you, do not be slothful in anything that God requires of you, but rather be diligent in everything because you serve God. Now by sloth, I mean that sin of self-seeking, willful avoidance, not being or doing what God requires of us. Slothfulness is primarily a sin of omission. It leaves things undone or done poorly, but it is not wholly passive, since in all its inactivity, it actively serves and loves self. The Proverbs give us many examples of the sluggard and what marks his life. To get a clearer understanding of what sloth is, let's look at a few. So first, the sluggard will not begin the tasks he ought to be doing, but remains idle. Proverbs 6:9 shows us the sluggard's lack of diligence to start anything of real consequence, asking, "How long will you lie there, O sluggard? When will you rise up from your sleep?" Second, when the sluggard does begin a task he ought to be doing, he does not bring it through to completion. Proverbs 19:24 says that the sluggard buries his hand in the dish and will not even bring it back to his mouth. Third, in all his inactivity, the sluggard makes irrational excuses to justify his idleness. Proverbs 26:13 says that the sluggard says, "There's a lion in the road, there's a lion in the streets." And last, the sluggard cannot see nor be counseled out of his slothful delusion because he's always the wiser in his own eyes. Proverbs 26:16 says, "The sluggard is wiser in his own eyes than 7 men who can answer sensibly." So these examples considered, sloth is marked by idleness, by doing things halfway, by irrational excuse making to justify that idleness, and by blind arrogance. And at its essence, it comes from a sinful desire to wrongfully serve and love self above God and above others. And like all sin, sloth is opposed to God. It is active rebellion against God and His perfect will for our lives. And it is a sin that we, even as the people of God, can commit in many spheres of our lives. So let me give you 5 possibilities. Number 1, sloth in attending to your heart. So this is watching over and taking intentional care to what you think about, what you love, and what you do. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life." Number 2, sloth in attending to and participating in the ordinary means of grace, both public and private. So this would be the Word of God and all its usages, the sacraments of baptism and the Lord's Supper, and prayer, the means whereby Christ communicates to us the benefits of His mediation. Number 3, sloth in faithfully living out our God-ordained callings, what we are to be and to do as husbands, as wives, as parents, and kids, even as children. Number 4, sloth in using our spiritual gifts to build up the people of God. So having different gifts, we ought to use them accordingly. And last, sloth in what we are to be and do as employees, as employers, as students, as friends, as neighbors, and as citizens. And so, Church of God, as those who are united to Christ by Spirit-wrought faith, possessing all the benefits of that union and communion with the crucified, resurrected, and exalted Christ, I exhort you, do not be slothful in anything that God requires of you, but rather be diligent. Do not let the various spheres of your life be marked by things left undone or done poorly, but by the Spirit of God, be diligent. Beloved of God, let us throw off our desires to please ourselves. Christ died for us so that we would no longer please ourselves, but rather Him who for our sake died and was raised. Amen.